My friends, I'm here to read to you today Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, published in 1939 in Chicago by a gentleman named Robert L. May. Robert, he worked for the Montgomery Ward Company in Chicago in the 1930s, and he was assigned to create a Christmas story that the company could sell. He was inspired by the 1820s American story, 'Twas the Night Before Christmas, published in 1823. Rudolph was so successful when it was first launched, it actually sold 2.4 million copies in the first year alone. Now, because Robert May was just an employee of the company, he didn't own any rights to the story Rudolph. However, in 1946, the chairman of the Montgomery Ward Company awarded Robert full rights to the story of Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer as a gift. Because of that, he became a very wealthy man, and so did his family. So friends, join me today on this beautiful Christmas day. I'm going to read to you Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer as it was originally published in 1939. There have been many versions since, but this is the original. 'Twas the night before Christmas, and all through the hills the reindeer were playing, enjoying their spills, while every so often they'd stop to call names at one little deer not allowed in their games. Ha ha, look at Rudolph, his nose is a sight, it's red as a beet, twice as big and twice as bright. While Rudolph just cried, what else could he do? He knew that the things they were saying were true. Where most reindeers' noses are brownish and tiny, poor Rudolph's was red, very large, and quite shiny. In daylight it sparkled, at nighttime it glowed like the eyes of a cat. Although he was lonesome, he was always good, obeying his parents as any good reindeer should. That's why on this day, Rudolph almost felt playful. He hoped that from Santa, soon driving his sleigh full of presents and candy and dollies and toys for good little animals, good girls, and boys, he'd just get as much, and this is what pleased him, as the happier, handsomer reindeer who teased him. So as the night and a fog hid the world like a hood, he went to bed hopeful, he knew he'd been good. While way up north, on the same foggy night, old Santa was packing his sleigh for his flight. This fog, he called out, will be hard to get through. He shook his round head, and his tummy shook too. Without any stars or a moon as our compass, this extra dark night is quite likely to swamp us. To keep from a smash-up, we'll have to fly slow. To see where we're going, we'll have to fly low. We'll steer by the street lamps and houses tonight in order to finish before it gets light. Just think how the boys and girls' hopes would be shaken if we didn't reach them before they awaken. Come Dasher, come Dancer, come Prancer, Vixen, come Comet, come Cupid, Donder, and Blitzen. Be quick with your suppers, get hitched in a hurry. You too will find fog a delay and a worry. And Santa was right, as he usually is. The fog was as thick as a soda's white fizz. He tangled in treetops again and again, and barely missed hitting a huge speeding plane. Just not getting lost needed all of Santa's skills, with street signs and numbers more difficult still. He still made good speed, with much twisting and turning, as long as the street lamps and house lights were burning. At each house, first checking what people might live there, he'd quickly pick out the right presents to leave there. But lights will be out after midnight, he said, for even most parents have gone to bed, because it might wake them. A match was denied him. Oh my, how he wished for just one star to guide him. Through dark streets and houses old Santa did poorly. He now picked the presents more slowly and less surely. He really was worried. For what would he do if folks started waking before he was through? The night was still foggy and not at all clear when Santa arrived at the home of the deer. Onto the roof, with the clouds all around it, he searched for the chimney, and finally he found it. The room he came down in was blacker than ink. He went for a chair, but it turned out to be a sink. The first reindeer's bedroom was so very black, he tripped on the rug and burst open his pack. So dark that he had to move close to the bed and peek very hard at the sleeping deer's head. before he could choose the right kind of toy, a doll for a girl, or was it a train for a boy? But all this took time and filled Santa with gloom while feeling his way toward the next reindeer's room. The door he just opened when, to his surprise, a soft, glowing, red-colored light met his eyes. The lamp wasn't burning. The light came instead from something that lay at the head of the bed. And there lay, but wait now, what would you suppose? The glowing, you guessed it, was Rudolph's red nose. So this room was easy. This one had a little light. Let Santa pick quickly the gifts that were right. How happy he was till he went out the door, because the rest of the house was as black as before. He went back to Rudolph and started to shake him, of course very gently in order to wake him. And Rudolph could hardly believe his own eyes. You just can imagine his joy and surprise at seeing who stood there a paw's length away and told of the darkness and the fog and the delay, and Santa's great worry that children might awaken before the complete Christmas trip had been taken. And you, he told Rudolph, may yet save the day. Your bright shining nose, son, can show us the way. I need you, young fellow, to help me tonight, to lead all my deer on the rest of our flight. And Rudolph broke out with such a big grin, it almost connected his ears to his chin. He scribed a note to his folks in a hurry. I've gone to help Santa, he wrote. Don't worry. Said Santa, meet me at my sleigh on the lawn. You'll stick up the chimney. And flash he was gone. So Rudolph pranced out through the door, very gay, and took his proud place at the head of Santa's sleigh. The rest of the night, well, what could you guess? Old Santa's idea was a brilliant success. And brilliant was almost no word for the way that Rudolph directed the deer and the sleigh. In spite of the fog, they flew quickly and low and made such good use of that wonderful glow that shone out from Rudolph at each intersection that not even once did they lose that direction. At all of the houses and streets with a sign on them, the sleigh flew real low so Rudolph's nose could shine on 'em. To tell who lived where and just what to give whom, they'd stop by each window and peek into the room. Old Santa, he always knew which children were good and minded their parents and ate as they should. So Santa would pick out the gift that was right, with Rudolph close by, making enough light. It all went so fast, and before it was day, the very last present was given away. The very last stocking was filled to the top, just as the sun was preparing to pop. The sun woke up the reindeer in Rudolph's hometown. They found the short message that had been written down. Then they gathered outside to await his return. They were surprised and excited to learn. The Rudolph, the ugliest deer of them all, Rudolph the red-nosed, bashful and the small, the funny-faced fellow they always called names and practically never allowed in their games, was now to be envied by all, far and near. For no greater honor can come to a deer than riding with Santa and guiding his sleigh, the #1 job on the #1 day. The sleigh and its reindeer soon came into view, and Rudolph still led them as downward as they flew. Oh my, was he proud as they came in for a landing, right where his handsomer playmates were standing. The same deer who used to do nothing but tease him would now have done anything only to please him. They felt even sorrier they had been bad when Santa said, Rudolph, I have never had a deer quite so brave and as brilliant as you at fighting black fog and at steering me through. By you, last night's journey was actually bossed. Without you, I'm certain we'd have all been lost. I hope you'll continue to keep us from grief on future dark trips as the Commander-in-Chief. When Rudolph just blushed from his head to his toes, till all of his fur was as red as his nose. The crowd clapped, their paws then started to screech, Hooray for Rudolph, and we want a speech. But Rudolph, still bashful, despite being a hero, was tired. His sleep on that trip totaled 0. So that's why his speech was quite short and not bright. Merry Christmas to all, and to all a good night. And that's why whenever it's foggy and gray, it's Rudolph the Red-Nosed who guides Santa's sleigh. Be listening this Christmas, but don't make a peep, 'cause that late at night children should be asleep. The very first sound that you'll hear on the roof, that is, if there's fog, will be Rudolph's small hoof. And soon after that, if you're still as a mouse, you may hear a swish as he flies around the house and shines through light to give Santa a view of you and your room. And when they're all through, you may hear them call as they drive out of sight, Merry Christmas to all, and to all a good night. Merry Christmas to everyone. Thank you so much for all the love, kindness, and support you've given us over the past year. Thank you for the amazing Christmas cards you've sent us. We've received around 600 cards so far. We're trying our best to reply to all of you guys. We've received some of the most beautiful cards I've ever seen. God bless you all, everyone.
Here's the other bag. There's over 100 in here.
There's a lot. We're getting maybe 50 more every single day.
It's hard to show them all, but as of the ones that we received so far, we decided just to pick out the ones that have been done of the cabin here. Surprisingly, some of you all have extreme talent and have decided to color or draw or sketch the cabin or Alfred or Mishmish.
Or us.
Or us. So I picked them out. They're the easiest to show because there's only maybe 8 or 10 of them. So first off, I want to show this one here of Alfred that was done. I think it's by Crown or possibly colored pencil, but it's beautiful and it looks just like him. So that's lovely. We plan to keep all of these for our whole lives and get them laminated so that they are protected. This small ornament one here, somebody did of us, and it's just beautiful the way it's done.
I absolutely adore that one.
Yes.
We're gonna laminate it, put a string through it, and hang it on our Christmas tree.
Let's see here. Some young feller or fellette has colored a picture of a Mishmish in front of a fireplace.
Thank you.
Very,
Mishmish
very
approved,
lovely.
yes.
Yes.
He said that was absolutely divine. Thank you.
Absolutely. Here's another wonderful coloring that someone had done of the beautiful cabin there, and with Mishmish, as you can see. And it looks like they got the turkey pot set up there in front yard.
Oh my, those memories.
Here's another beautiful coloring by a young patriot that watches us. They did the inside of the cabin there with the tree and the fireplace and a reef and the chickie on the mantle. Very, very beautiful.
Wouldn't be a cabin without chickies.
And we have a lovely coloring here from a young lady, I believe. And she did the cabin, and it looks like we've got a donkey, and Mishmish, a snowman, and you and me.
Sounds like my dream. Maybe in the future someday I'll get myself a donkey.
Yes. Thank you very much for that.
Thank you for drawing my dreams.
And we have a couple more here. I just found them at random, some hand painted. Well, oh, here's one more of the cabin. I'm sorry. This one here is a beautiful colored pencil, I believe, of the cabin with snow, and we got Mishmish there. That's lovely. And there's one there that you had sitting while you were reading of the cabin that's
yes.
painted by hand of the
yes.
cabin here.
That is
Stick it in the light.
gorgeous.
And they've got it snowing actually. And it almost looks like you took a picture outside
I know.
of it. It's so beautiful.
You have more talent than I could ever aspire to have. Let's just put it that plainly.
Now I have a few more here that I just found at random that were hand painted or colored, so I figured I'd show them as well. Beautiful winter scene, some kind of painting. I'm not sure what because I'm not familiar with
Maybe
paints.
it's a watercolor?
Maybe so. There's another one here. I really enjoy this one. It's got the American flag out front, the Betsy Ross 13 Star one, and then the snowman has a musket.
Cute touch.
Yes, very cute touch.
He's standing guard.
A lovely coloring, I believe this is, of some snowmen decorating a Christmas tree out in the woods.
Yes.
And then the last one I've got, I got two more, sorry. This one here is the last painted one I got. Very beautiful. I love paintings of birds like this. It's very simple and beautiful looking. kind of crosses over from my grandma Rayfield. She enjoyed pretty pictures of birds like that, so I guess that's why I'm kind of drawn to it. It looks really pretty. They did a wonderful job. I'm not sure what kind of bird that is. I'm not real knowledgeable about what birds are other than a cardinal or eagle.
Beautiful.
And the last one here, somebody made a card with us on it from the Tube Chat.
Thank you.
They screenshotted us. That's awesome.
Lovely. Thank you.
When I opened it up, I thought, will I send myself a card? And I was like, wait a minute, they made a card with us on it.
Thank you.
Really
It's
nice.
adorable.
Really nice. So thank you for all those wonderful cards. Even all the other ones, they're all wonderful. All the lovely messages that you guys have put in them, we've read them, and we've written you back. And like she said, there's almost 600, and there's still 100 plus that we still have to write back. But it is Christmas Eve. We're gonna take the night off from that, and then get right back on Christmas Day, probably after we have dinner. But the love is unbelievable. The amount of love you guys have shown us, and support and friendship from all over the world.
Yes.
We've gotten cards from Finland, from
Australia,
Iceland, Australia,
Germany,
Germany,
Deutschland.
lots from Germany.
Yes.
A lot from Germany.
England,
And
Canada.
Australia.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So we appreciate that very, very much, and we hope you all have a great holiday and a good Merry Christmas. And did you have something you want to share?
I just want to say thank you, everyone, for all the love and support you've given us. Early American has been around for, I think, about 3 years now, and Frontier Patriot, what,
Yeah.
2 years?
2 years. Yeah.
Thank you so much for everything. We've made some incredible friends through this, and I really look forward to meeting new friends, and I look forward to wishing you all a very happy Christmas and a very good New Year. So God bless you. Take care. Stay healthy. Bye, guys.
Bye bye.